idea for the world and give an immersive experience to them. So that's one of the key mantra which we believe and which we try to incorporate in our culture during this entire game development process. And one other thing is we wanted to make sure we are community first, and that's the key reason why we are releasing the Prologue first. Is we wanted to get the feedbacks from the community. We want to build the community, we want to listen to them, and we wanted to give them what they ask for. So these are the key reasons why we wanted to build game, and definitely we are a small indie studio from all the way from the southern part of India, Chennai, and definitely we are really excited to share like what we have done. So this is the interesting phase of the project. I think that's where you get an idea and you're so interested in developing it, and you have a dream, and you always play a game in your sleep. Like you always wanted to do that. I think we kind of in that phase, and we wanted to build a game, and we are like, okay, we know that this is going to work and all the other stuff. And it was around year 2021, and that's when the hard part of the gaming came in, I would say. Like the reason is I'm from an IT background and more on the engineering side, and primarily worked on developments or more of a web application or the mobile application part, and in that perspective. And once you come in from that side of the world, the game development is all together, and I would call more of an chaotic or more like an not a straightforward way of doing things. In the meantime, that's when I met Mohan. So he's our studio producer, and that's where I told him about the idea of building the game. So one interesting thing here is like he wanted to build a gaming PC. That's when he visited my home, and that's where like okay, I was like pitching the ideas, and then he was all on board for building it. And that's where the thing started. Like we were working on like some scribbling on the scribbling artwork. Even I won't specifically call that as an art, but we were scribbling things like okay, the player will be starting here, and he'll be going through all these things, and this will be the end point. We're planning all the levels, but that's where the early vision of how we wanted to build the game. But one thing which we lacked was the planning. Because one thing on our side is we don't have any proper studio experience, or we did not work on any AAA studio or any game studio, to be frank. And that's where like we were more on learning phases, but we wanted to do something big, but we don't have the resources or the plan on how to get things done. That's where the things started getting difficult. But we were able to get the announcement trailer out with a really good music which Chandra did, and we were able to get it out. So that's more like the first part of what we have done. On the second phase, I think this is where the reality struck in, I would say. The reason is like we did the announcement video. I think it came around August 2021. After that, we got, on a positive note, we got a lot of different feedback saying like it's a really good idea, and we got like a lot of support saying people are interested to play it. Like we got like really motivated, I would say. That's where we started. I think we don't have much of an as we don't have much of an experience, so that's where like everything started getting difficult. Like we were trying to identify a workflow of how to do it, and we don't have people to build the solution or build the game, and that's where the learning process started. The next entire year went on learning Unreal Engine, or learning the entire toolkit of the 3D modeling or the 3D workflow, and we were using like different set of tools to get things running. One interesting thing is like even retargeting a skeleton was one big of an ask in that situation, because we have no idea about how the entire character skeleton works, or how the entire character rigging works, or the modeling works. So that's an interesting phase. Like it's entirely all about the roller coaster of it. The entire 2022 was more on the entire downfall of all. So the motivation becomes zero. Like we don't know how to get things started, but we wanted to build it. But we identified that there are like tons of people that are required to even build a single set of levels. The main reason is it's an artistic work, but on the engineering end, even from the level designing to the environment artist to the game designer or the combat designer or the programmer. There are tons of roles, and it's really hard. So that's the thing which we realized during the 2022 part. I know that I need to learn a lot. I need to work on that, and there are like different set of stacks that need to be learned. But that's where the reality strikes in, and we didn't do anything for like 3 to 4 months. So we went like blank, and we did not have any updates on the social media, and we did not do anything, to be frank, on the gaming side or the update or the title part. And then the January 2023 came in, and that's where things started changing. I think that's the time when Until 5 came in, and pretty much like on the Udemy, I'm pretty sure like I've read like a lot of different courses on Unreal and a lot of different courses on character creator and Blender, and more on like what are the different set of things that we need at bare minimum to get the game up and running. And in Jan 2023, that's where we started working on a plan. So one thing which we realized is we don't want to build something huge. We want to keep our scope simple. We want to follow our engineering approach. That's where we started, and we want to design a combat. And because the entire game, combat is going to be the crucial part. Because when we say like the story is immersive, we have like really good stories in India, but one thing that is crucial is the game mechanics. Without the game mechanics, you don't have any logical way of doing anything in the game. If the game mechanics is a trash, the game is a trash. We decided basic combat mechanics, and that's when we had our first employee. So we hired the guy to build things. It's a year back from now, and we started working on the basic combats. And I was taking the part of building environments. But one of the funny thing is like I'm pretty sure like whatever environment which you will be playing in the Prologue, it's more like the 10th version of whatever we have built. Like there are like 9 different versions of the game that are there, from Unreal 4.27 to whatever we have, it's in Unreal 5.3. But we have all the different level we try out. We review it and we say like, okay, it's not good, we scrap it. And that's how we always started the process. And it's the funny part about being more like a startup, or I won't even say it's a startup or indie studio, more like an 2 or 3 member team. On one fine day, like we even didn't plan that. We found out a post about GDC, and we just went for like, we just checked like what exactly happens in game developer conference. We have zero idea. Like we know that GDC is more like one of the top conference that every game developers or the studio or the publishers attend, and we just looked into that. That's where we saw about GDC Play and GDC Pitch. So what we thought is like, why don't we apply that, and let's try to get into GDC Play. That's where we applied for, we got selected for GDC Play, and we also got shortlisted for GDC Pitch as well. And that was happening that happened at San Francisco in US during March 2023. And that's when everything, that's more like the turning point of the entire studio which we have here now. And that's when things started getting, we were getting a lot of traction from there. We got a lot of learnings from there as well. And in that 3 months, like, so we applied for GDC around January, and we had GDC at March, and we had like just like 2 to 2.5 months to get everything working. So we have a basic combat. We don't have any levels, we don't have any gameplays, we don't have any, I would say any playable thing. Like even we don't have any proper sound effects, or because we didn't have like really good, we don't have like really that much of time or to do things. So we just went for a bare minimum. We had a combat, we had one closed level, and we had people come in, all the enemies will be spawning at different points, and they were playing. And in the same phase, like in that 2 to 2.5 months, one thing which we did was we were able to get a character working. Like that's where the phase when MetaHuman came in, but we are not able to create our character, like create a Tamil Indian kind of version. So we went for character creator. That's where we created our own character, and we came up with like first version of Chola. And we went for marvelous designer as well to get the cloths working, and we definitely got help from ArtStation, and we were able to get another version of Chola and all the main characters in the game, like the Mavisa or the Sangrama, and even for all the NPCs as well. Because one thing which we realized is we have a combat, we have a close gameplay, and we need like the visuals, like because people need to see a king, a Tamil king, Indian Tamil king in the game, and they are going to play as that king. We went for that. I think that's one of the most, I would say, like most stupidest decision maybe, to go into an a world industry standard conference to show a game which only had just the combat, one close level, and we presented that in the GDC pitch. When we were at GDC, like we got more than, I would say, like more than 500 plus gameplays, like people are playing the game, and we met like a lot of interesting people there. They wanted to try the combat. One of the interesting thing is like we had a huge standee there with our old version of Rajendra Chola. So and people are able to recognize itself. We got like tons of feedbacks from GDC about the combat. Like they wanted to have these kind of combos, they want to have these kind of parries, they want to have the blocks, and definitely at the end of GDC, I'm pretty sure, like I'm 100% sure that we wanted to build this game. The reason is there are like tons of people that are interested, and we got like a lot of feedbacks, and that's a key takeaway from the GDC. There are like a few key people which I wanted to mention here is like, one is the Epic Games. We met Arvind there. He's a tech evangelist at Epic Games India, and from there like we met him, and so they were able to help us getting the UDN access. So one of the best thing about UDN is like we're able to get the solution architect level of access for anything on Unreal. As a 3-member studio, like that is like a huge thing for us. And that's where we decided the entire gameplay was built on 4.27, and we wanted to update that, because at the time when game comes in, we know that Unreal 5 will be the future, and there are tons of features that we can leverage and get things working. That is the key point, and with the help of Epic, we wanted to do that. And we kind of scrapped whatever we built on 4.27, and initially the Prologue was planned for I think October or November 2023, but due to the version upgrade, like we completely migrated everything from 4.27 to 5.0, and that's definitely not an easy way, because now we are again at 0, and we wanted to rebuild everything from the scratch, because all the levels, all the assets, the nanite materials, like there are a lot of things that broke. And one another key problem which we faced is the optimization side. So at that point, the entire the total number of gaming device which we had was only one. That is a laptop which I used to develop, and the another one is the 1650 system which we test whatever we build. We definitely know we'll face a lot of issues in that particular version of NVIDIA. But that is what we had. With that limited resources, like we wanted to build the game. One another key person which we met at GDC is Eric from Superalloy Interactive. So we have not seen Eric previously. Like he's more like a person we met, and he asked a lot of questions about Chola and the Indian history. He had like wide knowledge about that as well, and that's when he offered us for a one-day motion capture shoot at Las Vegas. So one of the interesting thing here is like he's the one who did motion capture for Kratos and God of War. So that is like a big bonus for us. Like, you know, like as I think it's a 3-member studio, and now we have someone who wanted to do all the combat animations, all the finishers, all the cinematics, and he wanted to do it for us. We had like amazing team there. They were helping us, because that is pretty much the first time I'm personally going into a motion capture studio, talking to the assistant director there, and there were like 10 to 15 people. They were working, they were coordinating all the things, in that situation, like we were able to shoot more than like 120 plus animations like on the combat side, and we are able to try to get things more on the Indianized version of the combat. But still, I would call like we are still at early phase, and we definitely want to incorporate coloristic kind of combat, more like 100% of it in the final game. But we were able to get some of the basic things for our combat, the finishers and the final cinematics. So those things came out really well, and definitely like in the part 2 that will be coming, and definitely can't wait to share with you all as well. So in the meantime, now we know that we are able to started doing first dubbing session. So that's an interesting one, because that's the first time personally, like I went to a music studio, and you see like the mics, you have like the proper setup, and we have no idea of how to direct it. So that's a truth. So I think Chandra was like really helpful in that, and we had people like we did rehearsals for the dialogues, and we were capturing that. And one interesting thing is like, since the game's primary language is Tamil, so the entire pronunciation has to be right. So even with a minute difference, you have like the entire word will become altogether a different meaning. So that's one of the key things which we did during that time. And after that, that's where like the 5.2 came. And one thing which we wanted to do is, like, previously we were on the technology side. We did not have like much multiple levels, like we did not plan for multiple levels. So we went for using world partition. That's one of the key update in Unreal 5, and we were using that, and we converted every single thing into nanite, and we went for high resolution. You have like, because one key advantage which we had was like when using the nanite and lumen, and the optimization was the hardest one, but we're able to get the gameplay working, and the texture quality improved, like the entire gameplay improved. And that's one another thing which we did during that time. After that, we had like lot of different updates we did to the game on the gameplay mechanics, and the levels. And one interesting thing is, like, initially like the entire prologue was planned for like 45 minutes, and even not for 45 minutes, even less than that, because we want to do more like a proof of concept. But after GDC, we felt like, like we wanted to do it, but we want to do it as best as possible. Like we want to give our 100%. So that's when we decided like we need to go with like a proper industry standard on the characters, or like even for the audio quality, like we did like the mix and master. Like we want to give our player an authentic and immersive experience, and that's when on the immersion, like that's when we met a group called Kosinagara. Like they were really amazing, because one thing is they were like some of the few people who wants to keep our ancient culture alive. Because one thing about Tamil history, like Tamil has a history of more than 2,000 years of legacy. So which means you have a lot of stories, you have a lot of monuments, you have a lot of I think the ideologies or the cultures. We had like a bunch of history on that part. And Kosinagara is the one who recreated all the ancient instruments from the inscription, from the poems, and using that for teaching the next set of generation. So what we did was we did a rehearsal session with them, and finally we did like one another the production. Like some of the interesting thing is they came up with, I think there were around like 10 to 15 people. They had like a lot of different kids as well, and they have like huge instruments. Like each sounded like altogether a different experience for us. One another interesting thing is like there was one instrument we were not able to use it in the game because it is so huge. Like we are not able to bring it inside the studio, and there are a lot of different things which we are working on as well. And during the shoot, they sounded amazing, and even like they had like the war trumpet where it sounded even before going into that part. Like one thing which we did was I think all credits to Chandar on that. We had the track finalized, so whatever we are recording with Kosinagara is more like an upgrade to whatever you are hearing. So it's more like an additional layer of music and authenticity which we are bringing with the live instruments. So that is one thing which made the game to next level, and all credits to the team organized it, and we had like amazing studio, and Chandar did plan that really well. Even on the gameplay wise, we were actually adding like some more new things into the game. We were finalizing GDD, and so one such thing is like we added meditation point. Since the story is happening in present Indonesia, like we had like different shrines that are placed in the game, and what the player can do is player can go and meditate. That's the point where you can upgrade your health and even upgrade your arrows, like more like a reset point where the player can spend some time on it. And even another key thing which we wanted to do is like there were like few games where you don't want to just go rush in and fight. You wanted to just stay in and take a screenshot. Like normally like people do that when the visuals is like so good. You wanted to just be there, just experience that immersion, and just record it. So we wanted to have that kind of experience along with definitely the combat, but we just don't want to be more of an just a combat game. We wanted to have our players to get in, experience the location, even understand the flora and fauna that are there, and along with that, we definitely are going to have fun. So we want to have that at every point in game. And that's what we designed, and we definitely wanted to go with linear. The reason is we don't want to increase our scope. We wanted to keep it straightforward and made sure we build that in really good way, and that's the entire development strategy was around. And one another thing which we wanted to do that is I think we had the gameplay, but one challenge is, so I use 4090 for my development, and even when in my system I get just like the 20 or 30 FPS even with the full resolution. I think that's where we went all together on optimization part. We spent more than a month on optimization, because the reason is I know we can build a beautiful game with all the different things, but just because it's good, we don't want to include everything and make it non-runnable on all the systems. So that's when we were doing like a lot of optimization on the assets, the mechanics. We were like decoding all the loads that are happening on GPU, the CPU part, and we were optimizing it. And we added DLSS 3 and FSR as well as a part of the optimization process too, because we just don't want to build a game, ship it, and say like it runs only on the certain set of hardwares. We want to make sure we support all the possible graphics card and get things working. So, and one another on the trade show part, where we had an opportunity to participate in IGDC 2023 at Hyderabad, India. So IGDC is more of a game developer conference version of Indian one, where you can meet a lot of Indian developers, a lot of studio or publishers there, and interestingly, we met like a lot of people from Xbox. We were able to present the game, and we were able to play test it. Now, one difference from GDC to IGDC is now we have a 45 minutes of gameplay, and we started collecting feedbacks from people there, and we met a lot of interesting people, and definitely we got a lot of interesting feedback, and those were more like we would call like more like a beta testing, or more like control testing. And that's when one thing which we realized is we are a 5-member team, but so when people started playing the game, like we identified that technically like I would have run the same level for like 1,000 times, pretty sure of that, but I never faced those issues which we found out in IGDC. Like people are playing with all the different key combinations, all the different ways, I would call. So that's when we decided like we need like a proper testing strategy even before we ship the game. And that's when we found Manish, and he was able to help with a testing with proper gameplay. Like, because the reason is in gaming, like, I can go from point A to point B. Even with linear, you can go by pressing different keys. Like, each player has their own play style, and we want to make sure we validate those things and test that. So I think the testing is that's where we learned, like, testing is going to be the crucial part of shipping, and definitely Manish jumped in and he was able to do a lot of different things there. And then onto the next challenge is animation. So animation is like one of the interesting things. I already told about not knowing how to retarget a skeleton during 2021, but we got the mocap done. That's a really interesting one. And as a newbie, I really thought, like, okay, we got the mocap, now we have everything ready, right? Like, we're just going to take the animation from there, we're going to use it in the game, and we're going to ship it. That's not the case. So that's another interesting thing. So now we need someone who can clean up the mocap, because we shot like more than 120 plus shots, and we need someone to clean the animation. We want someone to retag it and include those things inside the combat. So that's where Om comes in. So we hired Om, and he's out of college, and he helped us creating like the entire set of animations. I'm pretty much sure, like, even for the idle or like the moving around or for all the combat animations, he pretty much worked on more than all the cinematics, cleaning up the mocaps, the finishers, pretty much like 200 plus animations. He was able to complete, and he helped us creating a snapshot to whatever we have today. So definitely credits to him, and that's where we are able to optimize animations as well, because we don't want to have like a like 120 FPS animation to the game, and we optimize animations too. So that's another thing which we worked on. If you're still watching the video, get ready to immerse yourself to play as the mighty Rajendra Chola.
Perfect, well done.
கடாரத்தை வென்றெடுத்த சோழவேந்தனின் வீர வரலாறு, தாய் தமிழகத்தில் பாடிய போர்ப்பரணி. தஞ்சையில் சந்திப்போம்.